Okay, and number 3, you should have gotten 33.7. For number 4, you should have gotten 36.8. If you did not get those two numbers, chances are you weren't very careful when you looked at the setup of the problem. You were just jumping right in like I did on 1 and 2, but when you go to set it up, 64 degrees is across from the 32, but then when you go to the other angle that they give you 45 degrees. The side across from the 45 degrees is not the side that they're asking you to find. And no, you cannot still find that leg and then use the Pythagorean theorem. It's not a right triangle. Pythagorean theorem does not apply. So you got to figure out what that third angle is. Not a big deal, right? 180 degrees in a right triangle, so 180 minus the two angles they give you. So the angle that you should really use is 71 degrees to find that missing leg. Okay, same thing with number 4. The 110 degrees is across from X, but the 41 degrees, the side opposite of 41 degrees, is this side on the top. That's not the length that they gave us. They gave us 19, which is across from the angle 29 degrees when you subtract the 110 and the 41 from 180. Okay, so you got to look out for that when you do the law of sines. You can't just plug in all the information that they give you every single time. All right, let's look at a little application problem right here. Kevin, Adam, and Dan are passing a hockey puck. So they give us a diagram over there that give us some degree measures from Adam to Dan and from Kevin to Dan, or yeah, whichever way you want to look at it. And then you know that Adam and Dan are 25 feet away, but the question is, how far is Kevin from Adam? So that would be the side there on the left. So let's look at what we've got. 86 degrees is opposite of the 25 feet. 71 degrees is the leg from Kevin to Dan, not from Adam to Kevin. So we've got to figure out what that distance is, or that angle, excuse me. 180 minus 71 minus 86. So we've got 23 degrees right here at Dan. So now we can set up our law of sines. Sine of 86 degrees over 25 is equal to the sine of 23 over x. I'm going to save myself a little writing here. I think we're getting the hang of what happens. 25 times the sine of 23, and then we're going to divide that by the sine of 86. If you need to write out the steps, absolutely write them out. But I'm just going to skip them right there. 9.8, anytime you're doing a real world application problem, make sure that you put those units on there. So the Adam to Dan was measured in feet, so that means our answer is in feet. Okay, how far is Dan from Kevin? Okay, again, you can't just use the Pythagorean theorem with those two measurements because it's not a right triangle. So we've got to set up the law of sines again. I would use the given information as much as possible. So I would go back to the sine of 86 degrees over 25. I would not use the sine of 23 over 9.8 because what if I made a mistake in that calculation? I don't want to compound my mistake by using it again. So go back to what I know is true, 86 degrees and 25 feet. Sine of 71 degrees over x. So let's see here. The only thing that changes in the equation we just solved is that 23 is now 71. So they are approximately 23.7 feet apart. Now, really quickly, let's talk about a little triangle property that you may or may not remember. This is one way to kind of help yourself check your answers to these because pictures are not always drawn to scale. But the longest side is always across from the largest angle. The longest side is always across from the largest angle. The smallest side is always opposite the smallest angle, and then obviously the other one's right in the middle. So if we look at the three measurements we have here, 25 is the longest one, 86 is our biggest degree measure. So that checks out. 9.8 is the shortest distance. That was the distance from Kevin to Adam. It is across from the smallest angle of 23 degrees, and then obviously the 23.7 fits right there in between, and the 71 is between those two angles. So use that as a way to check yourself when you do these problems, just to make sure that you set everything up correctly.